Hello, this is Katherine Cleland from Cleland Marketing. I'm a trainer here at 501 Commons working with Google Ad Grants and social media trainings for nonprofits in Seattle area in the state of Washington. I have recorded this webinar today because Google Ad Grants has made some significant changes to their requirements for nonprofits in the Ad Grant program effective January 1st. There's an 8-week grace period for these changes, and they will start suspending Ad Grant accounts as of February 28th if you do not meet the new Ad Grant requirements. So I'm going to spend the next 50 to 55 minutes taking you through those new requirements and giving you pointers and tips on how best to adjust your Ad Grants, AdWords campaigns to meet the new requirements. So the changes in the Ad Grant requirements are all about improving the nature of search for the end user. And as Google has tried to improve the search environment, they have found that a lot of nonprofits are not spending enough time in managing their accounts to deliver appropriate results to people who are searching. And so they have imposed what I would consider to be fairly draconian requirements now that are very specific for all Ad Grants recipients to be eligible to continue in the program. The first and the most important one that should raise alarms for all nonprofits is that accounts not achieving a minimum 5% click-through rate will be suspended, meaning you will lose the ability to use your Ad Grant. However, if you make adjustments and can achieve the 5% click-through rate, you can be reinstated, but you have to request to be so. So there is quite a high probability that I believe 60 to 70% of all nonprofits with Ad Grants are going to find effective February 28th that their accounts have been suspended because they have not achieved that minimum click-through rate. So I will focus most of this conversation on how to achieve that. The reason I believe so many nonprofits are going to be affected is the typical click-through rates that I see for nonprofits and for-profit companies is between 1.8% to 6.7%. Now, a click-through rate is the ratio of impressions of your ad to people who are searching to the number of clicks. So if you show an ad 100 times and only one time does someone click on your ad, that would be a 1% click-through rate or 1% CTR. You must be at least 5% on average in your campaigns under the new Ad Grants by February 28th. So to achieve that new click-through rate, there are also several other requirements that Google Ad Grants has imposed. One is that keywords must have quality scores of 3 or higher. And I'll take you through how to view your quality scores and how to manage quality scores. But keywords generally tend to have low quality scores when they are too broad or not relevant to the web page that you're bringing somebody to based on what they've searched for. So that's one of the new requirements is quality score for keywords. The next is campaigns must have at least 2 ad groups, meaning you have to separate out the ideas of what you're advertising about. So a campaign is all about a topic or an area of work, and an ad group is very specifically about a specific call to action or opportunity that you're trying to alert a client or constituent to. So you want to start breaking things down into sets and subsets based on the activities of your nonprofit to set up appropriate campaign and ad group structure, and I'll take you through that. They're also imposing that you need at least 2 ads per ad group. They're wanting you to offer different types of copy and headline and descriptive text in your ads so that they can choose which performs better and is more relevant. They would also like you to be constantly adding new options on that ad text so that you're constantly improving the quality of your campaigns. The next requirement is that accounts must have at least 2 site link extensions active. Site link extensions is a feature within the ads that allows Google to go deeper into your website to deliver more detailed information, and they want you to enable them to do that by enabling site links. Your account must be geo-targeted. So when you set up your account and your campaigns, you're allowed to choose what location you are speaking to serve your ads. That could be the entire United States if you're a national nonprofit. It could be the entire state of Washington if you're serving all communities in Washington, or it could be as specific as a 3-mile radius or a 1-mile radius around your location for a soup kitchen or a children's services program. So you need to choose the appropriate geo-targeting for your nonprofit. And what I found is that the geo-targeting has a very high correlation to achieving that 5% click-through rate. If you set your geography too wide to try and cast a wider net, what happens is you get fewer people clicking through to your nonprofit, and you will then run afoul of the new ad grant requirements. In the new ad grant requirements, single word keywords are prohibited. So if you, for example, are offering services for homelessness, you would not want to advertise only for the keyword homeless or homelessness. You would want to make sure you modify that keyword in some way, whether it's serving the homeless, or whether it's homelessness services, or whether it's clothe the homeless. You need to have multiple thoughts or modifiers in your keywords that you're trying to show your ads for. Remember, AdWords is an auction for keywords to try and get people who are searching for specific topics to the correct sites. And in that auction, the relevance of your site to that keyword search is the most important thing that they're looking for. There is an upside to the new ad grant requirements. They are also eliminating the $2 maximum bid if you use an ad strategy of maximized conversions. I am not going to get into conversion bid strategy. That would be an entire, probably longer than 50-minute presentation in and of itself. So those are the new ad grant requirements. We're now going to peel the onion and start diving into how we look for these minimum 5% click-through rates and the quality scores. Once again, the deadline, it's important that you start this work as soon as you see this webinar, because the policy was implemented January 1st. They gave an 8-week grace period, which means that 8-week grace period is up by the end of February. Some of these changes will take time for Google to index, so you want to have at least several weeks runway in implementing some of these quality score changes so that you can hit the new goals by the end of the month. If you are suspended, you can ask to be reinstated, but you're going to lose some opportunities. Be sure to go in and check your notifications so you get a notice when your account is at risk. So let me go live here real quick and take you to an AdWords site so that we can take a look at where you go to get your notifications. So this is the new AdWords interface. I will be using this predominantly with the assumption that most everyone has moved over to the new AdWords interface, but there are a few things that I still do in the old AdWords interface. For notifications, what you want to do is to go up here to the bell. And you can see I've got a bell up here with an exclamation point that's telling me I have a keyword conflict. I can go up here to notifications. Oh, it's not, these are just my notifications. It's not how to set them. So I need to go find where I set my notification. So I'm going to try it here under the wrench. We're going to go to set up account preferences. We're going to try that. And I have language preferences, I have time zone, I have my account is active, but it does not have my notification preferences. So that's, oh, here we go, right here, second tab. So we're here in account preferences. Second tab is notifications. You can go here to notifications. And what you're going to want to do is make sure that you turn on all of your customized help and performance suggestions and campaign maintenance, disapproved, and policy alerts, so they can tell you when you have issues under the new guidelines. So that's under, again, the wrench, under setup, preferences, account preferences, notifications. So it's buried pretty deep to go make sure you find those. So that's where we are in our account preferences. So now what I want to take you through is how to approach your concept of quality score. So quality is the quality for the searcher. So what Google is looking for is for ads to be relevant to what the searcher is looking for. And so they're looking for a match of the keyword to the ad copy to the landing page on your website. So wherever you take them on your website, to the searcher's intent. So if I'm searching for a research paper on homelessness and looking for academic sources, they're going to recognize what I'm looking for and what I'm looking for. So if I'm using the search term homelessness data, they're going to recognize that I'm looking for information about homelessness, and they are less likely to match me to an ad that would be about homelessness services. And that is intentional and important. So if you find the keyword homelessness data, it's not something, unless you're providing data about homelessness, that you want to choose as your keyword. So always be thinking about the match of the keyword to the ad copy to the landing page to what the searcher is actually looking for. And Google gives you a lot of information about this, and they do it in what is called a quality score. So the quality score is calculated every time your keyword matches a search query, every time your keyword has the potential to trigger an ad, and it's used in several ways. It influences your actual cost per click, how much the bid has to be for you to show up on a page, even determining if your keyword is eligible, and then how high your ad will be ranked. And now they're saying they're going to set a minimum quality score of above a 3, and you have to have a click-through rate of 5%. So that's really everything. So how do they calculate the quality score? It includes the historical click-through rate of the keyword and the matched ad on the Google domain, your account history, meaning a rising tide will float all boats, or if you have very poor keywords in some of your ad groups and campaigns, that will bring your whole account down. The historical click-through rate of that URL that you're taking the person to, the quality of your landing page, what experience the customer has there, the relevance of the keyword to the ad, how well the keyword and the ad are matched to the search query. And then there's this nebulous other relevant factors. So let's go take a quick look at where we find the quality score. So if you're in your AdWords campaign, and you can see here I'm in Sound Theater's AdWords campaign, which is a nonprofit that I manage the ads for, and it has significant problems. So I'm taking you into the Sound Theater account because it has many of the problems that Google is trying to fix. You enter your account, you can choose campaigns, ad groups, ads and extensions, landing pages, or keywords. You want to go to the Keywords tab, and when you go onto the Keywords tab, they will give you a default set of information about your keyword, your campaign, ad group, the status, how many clicks and impressions, and they will give you this CTR, or click-through rate. That's what we're looking to bring up to a 5%. You can see this campaign is currently performing at a 3.22%, which is below the threshold. So that's what I'm looking to fix. The first thing I want to do, though, is not focus on the click-through rate. I want to go to my columns here, where I've got 3 bars, and it says Modify Columns, and I can choose Custom Columns. I can choose Modify Columns. I don't want to choose Custom. I want to choose Modify. It gives me several drop-down menus of things I can add to my custom columns. I'm looking for attributes, and I want to make sure that I check quality score, match type, and final URL. These by default are unchecked, and you will not see them. So you need to go into Keywords, Modify Columns, Attributes, and check them, and then apply. Once you've applied them, you can then scroll to the right and see the quality score of your keywords. And we are looking in this column called quality score at this point for where we are on a scale of 1 to 10. And depending on where we are on a scale of 1 to 10, we will take different actions. So that's the first thing you want to do, is to go take a look at your quality score. So at this point, I'm going to give you an option to take a different path, because we're about to dive deep into your AdWords data. If you find this to be too complicated or not the right approach for your specific nonprofit, and in particular, if you are a local or smaller nonprofit that serves a geographic area from a physical location, I highly recommend that you consider moving to AdWords Express. AdWords Express is a great option if you don't have the time to manage an Ad Grants account. You can have AdWords Express under Ad Grants. Google will take you through how to transition from ad grant ad account to an AdWords Express account. The benefits of using AdWords Express, they're going to help you create an online ad quickly and easily. They're going to help you pick keywords based on a scan of your web page. You will have significantly less control, but it'll be much easier. It takes minimum ongoing management. They run and automatically optimize your ads for you. So it's all taken care of. So you have this option to bail out at this point and go to AdWords Express. Having said that, I'm going to continue on into AdWords and how to locate where your quality problem is. So we now can see our quality scores because we've gone in and revealed our quality score, our match type, and what's going on. Now we want to dive into what is our quality problem. The first place where your quality problem is likely to be is in your geolocation. So that's why Google is requiring that you set a geolocation for all of your campaigns. If you have the wrong location or too broad a location, it's going to significantly suppress your quality score. And so you can see down here in my slide that over time I have had different geolocations for my campaigns as I have managed this account over the past many years. This bottom one I had set, well, the top one I had set in 2014, so 4 years ago, for a particular play. I had set it to be Seattle, Tacoma, Pierce County, and Snohomish County. So I was casting a very wide net, trying to get people from all over the Puget Sound area to come into Seattle to see a small local play. And what I found is that my click-through rates in those Pierce County and Snohomish County were very low. Our ads were not relevant to them, and I had very low quality scores and poor click-through rates. So you can see for my upcoming play, which I just created last month in 2018, I chose to use only the Seattle, Tacoma, Washington zone, and so I've created a narrower geo-targeting. So let me show you how to go in and set that geo-targeting. If you go into your, whoops, sorry about that. Go into your AdWords campaign. What you want to do is go up here into campaigns, and you will go into settings. And in those campaign settings, you have locations. You can expand your locations. So on every one of these are expandable menus, and it has a little arrow that drops down to expand or contract that area. You set your location, and you can choose all countries, United States, enter another location. You always want to be in this enter another location unless you're one of the rare national nonprofits. Then within this targeted location, you can see I've chosen a Nielsen DMA region, which is a marketing region of 8 million people, which is a fairly broad area. I could instead choose Seattle and choose just the 6 million people that live in the Seattle area. But I don't want to have both, so I should choose one or the other. So I'm going to narrow my geolocation for this. I could also go even tighter than that. I can go smaller. I could see if it's got a Fremont, Seattle, and it doesn't because it's not the name of a geolocation, but as you could see there, I can pick a zip code, 98103, and whoops, 103, and I can pick a postal code. So I could go down from my 6 million in all of Seattle to just pick a specific zip code and get 400,000 people. Once you get down to that narrow a targeting, it's often better to do instead an advanced targeting. And if you do an advanced search, you can do a location, and you can see it shows me on a map where I've geo-targeted. So this shows me where those 6 million people are that I've chosen. And what's happened is I've lost Bellevue, Kirkland by going from Seattle, Tacoma, DMA to Seattle, Washington. And I actually like audiences from Bellevue and Kirkland. So I'm going to go back to my Seattle, Tacoma. Let's see if it's going to let me. Yes. So now it's allowed me to add that, and you can see the Seattle-Tacoma DMA region is significantly larger to get those additional 2 million people than the 6 million in just Seattle. So that's almost too large. So I'm going to get rid of the Seattle-Tacoma, and instead I'm going to say, okay, give me Bellevue. Bellevue, Washington. I'll do a search. And it gives me, okay, I can pick Bellevue, and it gives me all of Bellevue. And I can add that in, and I can also go in and add Mercer Island. I can add in Medina, Kirkland, Redmond individually. But even easier than that is doing a radius. And I can actually pick Seattle, Washington, and choose a geographic radius around downtown Seattle. And so I can look at this and I can say, okay, that 20 miles is a little too big. Let me go to about 12 miles radius around Seattle and get rid of the 20-mile radius. So now I've typed in Seattle 12-mile radius, and it gets me, oh yeah, up to Shoreline, out to Redmond, down to Renton, across to Bainbridge. That's a really good reach for me. So instead of my Seattle-Tacoma and my all of Seattle, I'm going to choose the 12 miles around Seattle, and I'm going to save that. And I'm going to continue because I'm removing some locations. It's making sure I wanted to do that. And so now I have geolocated much more appropriately my ad group or my campaign. We geolocate a campaign and have set that up properly. And so this is just a slide that's going to be available in the slide deck as to how do I go about setting that in the old user interface, which is here under settings, all settings, locations, targeted locations. And you can see it's the same information given in a different way. So now that we've geo-targeted and met that, how do we get to the 5% click-through rate? Where's the quality problem on keywords? So the first thing you want to do is go into your campaign and make sure you've gotten rid of all of your one-word keywords. You've modified them all. You've gotten rid of all of your broad match keywords, and you've gotten rid of all of your keywords with a quality of score of less than 4. So let's go do that live. We will go back into this same ad group campaign for the Sound Theater Group, and I'm going to go to, I'm going to just look for enabled campaigns. So I'm narrowing it down because I have a lot of old campaigns that are no longer running. And I have this mess of a campaign that's called Sound Theater that covers a whole lot of different stuff. And what we are going to do is take a look at keywords in this campaign. And we are going to take a look at our click-through rates. So I can sort. No, I want to sort by click-through rate. So I should be able to click on this. Oh, dang. There we go, sort by click-through rate. So I click on it, and it gives me the down arrow. So it's showing me, it's giving me the quality score or the click-through rate in descending order. So I can then scroll down and look for low click-through rate keywords. And I can see if, for example, theaters in Seattle was a keyword that I had been running that had a very low click-through rate. Now, by default, when you look at your keywords, it usually will show you the last 30 days. That generally doesn't have enough information to give you data that would give you your average click-through rate over time, because 1 out of 98 is a very low sample size. So I generally set my date range to at least 6 months by changing the beginning date and then changing the ending date to be very recent. So we'll go through today and apply. And now I'm going to have much more data to be able to make decisions around my click-through rate. You can see I've got a lot more keywords, a lot more searches, because mine is a seasonal theater. We don't show any shows between November and January, so we don't have any website traffic. So we really don't have a good set of information. But here is that same set of keywords with low click-through rates, theater, Seattle, Washington, which has quotations around it, which means it's a phrase match keyword. And we only have a 1.96% click-through rate, even with an average position of 2.7, which is a very good position on overall. So that basically says we do not have a good match there between what we're offering in our ad and the searcher's intent. And if I look at my quality score, I got a 5 out of 10, so I'm still above the threshold for quality score, but I'm not meeting what is needed for the click-through rate. So what I would need to do is to go into the Seattle, Washington ad group and take a look at what are the ads that I'm showing to the people who are looking for that term, theater, Seattle, Washington. And so my ads are about the fact that we are a top Seattle small theater company in 2015, exploring love and hate, showcasing emerging talent. So this immediately shows me that I haven't updated my ads for this particular ad group since 2015. I know if I were searching for something, I wouldn't click on something that had an out-of-date date. So what I would need to do is go in and modify my ads to make them up to date. Live Theater Award winning, and I would change this to 2018, and our season this year is all about the human, family, radical inclusion. And I've done my 80 out of 80 characters. I'm going to save my new ad, and what should happen over the next week, now that I've created a new ad that is better matching what is happening in the world, my quality score should go up, and hopefully my click-through rate should go up. But you can see in this ad group, so I'm here in ads and extensions, I still don't have 2 ads. So I'm required to have 2 ads for every ad group. So I need to click the plus again, add another text ad. It'll immediately give me my previous text ad, but it will now allow me to edit where I'm landing, so a new landing page. In fact, I'm just going to let it land on the home page, and I am going to change this to be live Seattle theater shows. Award-winning plays at Seattle Center. And that's too long. So I need to come up with something else. Award-winning plays. I don't know what else I want to say here. We'll just say award-winning plays and leave it at that right now. And we will save this new ad. So now I have 2 ads in this ad group. So now I've met the requirements that Google has for having 2 ads. And so if I go back to my ads, it's trying to force me into extensions. It wants me to do call out extensions, but I don't. Let me go here and to call out. I want to go to site link extensions. So I have site link extensions activated. So this is the other requirement that they have. You must have at least 2 site link extensions that take the customer deep, or the client deeper into your site to more relevant information. So you can see I have all these site link extensions. I have 574 impressions, but a very low click-through rate on my site link extensions. So I am not getting the right information to people. And so I'm going to add a site link extension that's going to be very specific. And the site link text is going to be buy tickets. And it's going to be, you can't take it with you. Comedy, and it opens February 24th. So we'll say that's our site link, and then the final URL, I would take them directly to the ticket page. So I'm going to go to www.soundtheatercompany.org/buy tickets. And then I am going to save that site link. So now I have 2 site link extensions, and I'm trying a new site link to better match have a higher quality ad, increase my click-through rate within this particular ad group. So where we were back at this Sound Theater in Seattle, Washington, trying to look at our keywords. We started at our keywords and found that we had a good quality keyword that had a low click-through rate. And we thought, okay, why would it have a low click-through rate if we think it's a good quality keyword? And it was because our ad didn't match the search intention and we didn't give them the information that they needed. So that's the first thing you want to do, is to start looking at your quality of your keywords. Next thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to go scroll through and find all your single word keywords. So do we have any single word keywords? And I don't think I have any single word keywords, but here's a very poor keyword. Theater season is too broad. You can tell if somebody's looking for theater season, they're looking for something else. So I either need to pause this keyword or I need to modify it further and add to it. So I'm going to put in Seattle theater season and save that. And now what I've done is I've made it more specific. And if the quality score had been low, the quality score now should go up. It should show higher in the ads, and hopefully I would get a higher click-through rate over time. So that's what we're trying to do. So any keywords here that are broad match keywords, you can find by going here to match type and clicking on match type and sorting, and it will give you all of your broad match keywords close together. So here we go. Sound Theater Company, Seattle is a broad match keyword. It's had no impressions and no clicks. And so generally what I would say is that you would want to pause any of these broad match keywords in the new ad grants. So that, and there might be a reason you would keep it, since this is the name of our theater company, I'm actually going to keep this one running. It's going to be a rare exception. But generally any broad match or one word theater companies, one word keywords you're going to want to pause. So this one, soundtheater.org, is a broad match. I'm going to change it to a phrase match. So I'm going to keep that keyword, change the match type. So I'm keeping the keyword. It'll run it, give it a new quality score, and hopefully over the next 3 weeks before I get suspended, this will start performing better. So that's what I want to keep doing, is looking at my keywords that have a high number of impressions, low click-through rates, and decide whether I am going to pause them, remove them, or improve them. Plays and musicals, I actually think that this might work as a keyword, but not as a broad match, but as a phrase. So I'm going to save that. And if somebody's searching for plays and musicals, will they find us? Will we show? Will it be a good quality? Probably not, because so many kids are searching for plays and musicals to do at school. People are searching for plays and musicals to read. And so what I might do is edit this and make it a combination of two thoughts, plays and musicals and anything to do with Seattle. So then people are searching presumably more for an activity because they're giving it a location. And so now I've created a new keyword out of that. Drama plays near me, same thing. I'm going to make that a phrase match, tighten it up. And so we've got all this grooming we can do to get additional quality scores. Another thing you're going to want to do is find higher quality keywords. And the way I can do that is I've had these broad match keywords running for more than a year. As it runs, what Google does for you is it captures keywords that people actually searched on, and they give them to you here in this search terms section. So if you click on search terms and go to search terms, it's going to show you all of the places where it matched your ad to a keyword based on a broader phrase match. Like Rocky Horror Picture Show, it matched my ad to somebody who was looking for a live performance of Rocky Horror Picture Show. Since we don't do Rocky Horror Picture Show, I'm going to add Rocky Horror Picture to the negative keyword list. Anytime somebody includes Rocky Horror as a phrase in any search term, I'm going to say, do not show my ad. And I need to go up here. Uh-oh, it's not going to let me scroll. I hate it when it gets behind. There we go. And I need to save this. So now I've saved Rocky Horror Picture Show as an excluded keyword. And you can see it gives me that positive feedback right here, what I've done. I can also add keywords that are good keywords that have worked. So theater season in Seattle, Washington. So we saw earlier, theater season was a phrase match. It did a phrase match for theater season in Seattle, Washington. And I actually got 2 clicks out of 1 impression. So a 200% click-through rate. That would bring my 5% average up pretty quickly. So that's a good keyword. So I can choose that keyword. I can choose Nadeshko, which was one of our shows. I can pick Hoodoo, which was one of our shows. I can choose that Sound Theater Co. And I can add all 4 of these at the same time as keywords up here. And then I want to set them all as either phrase or exact matches. Excuse me for sneezing. And now what I've done is I have added high quality keywords to my ad group, and I have removed poor quality keywords from my ad group, which is exactly what Google wants us to spend our time doing. And I can save that. And so I'm now added search tag. So what I've done is created a higher quality ad group with better match keywords, with 2 ads in the ad group, and with site link extensions. So the only thing left to do is to make sure that I have turned off all keywords with a quality score of less than 4. I can choose to do that today very quickly as a quick and dirty, or I can wait for 3 weeks to see if some of this work I've done will improve the quality scores. I'm going to do it today if it allows me to scroll over. For some reason, it's not letting me scroll, so I'm going to make this full screen. I don't know what. Okay, I'm in keywords. There we go. And now I've got my scroll bar back again. So I went back into my keywords. I'm going to go over here to my quality score, and I'm going to sort by quality score. And I'm going in negative declining order on quality score. So I'm going to scroll down, and I'm going to find all those keywords that are below a 4 out of 10. And I don't have any on my first page, but you can see my first page is only 50 rows out of 931 keywords. So you can tell I've worked adding keywords to this for a long time. So I can increase the number of rows on this page, and I get down to 5 out of 10. So now I'm at 100 keywords, and now I'm going to go to page 2 by clicking the arrow to the next page. I'm going to have to scroll up to find all of my quality scores that are 3 out of 10 or below. And what I have to do is go into these and either improve the quality scores or pause them or remove them. And what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to go in and I'm going to edit and I'm going to pause. And I'm not going to remove them because I believe on some of these I can improve the quality score by creating a new ad group with a new set of ads that are specific to the fact that we are one of the resident theater companies at the Seattle Center Theater. So that's a whole specific area that I haven't explored that I can explore and create a specialized set of keywords, ad groups, and ads that go to my location page on my website, because those are all about location. So we are still working on how do we get to the 5% click-through rate. So now we have eliminated all of our keywords that have a quality score of less than 4. We've gotten rid of our broad match keywords. We've gotten rid of our one-word keywords. And we have paused keywords that aren't good. So we've looked at our attributes. We've set our broad matches to phrase matches. We've added in our quality keywords by grabbing search terms, sorting by click-through rate, and adding all keywords that have above a 5% click-through rate. Then the quick and easy way is to pause or remove, or to go in and improve your quality scores by better matching your keyword search to your ad copy to the landing page. The landing page is really important, and I want to make sure that we look at your campaign structure. Every ad group should go to a specific place on your website that is not your homepage. You should not, in Google Ad Grants, be taking anyone to your homepage, but you want to take them to the most specific page on your website that answers their query. So if you've got an ad group that's all about an event that you have, you want to make sure that when they land, they don't land on your general events page or a general page that includes events. You want to land them on the specific event that that ad group is about. So if it's a theater show, you want to make sure that it is landing on something that has the specific information about that. My previous AdWords training got into campaign structure and setup, and so I am not going to go into that at this point, but let me take you to some additional resources that you're going to want to have access to as you go through this. So if you are working on your AdWords, you're going to want to make sure that you have the Google Ad Grants information open. So this is where you have the information about ad grants, and the new requirements are here under resources. So be familiar with your Ad Grants Help Center, and the Ad Grants community is a place where you could ask questions and get help from your peers. But the Ad Grants Help Center is the manager account, is where you have how you work it through. Here's how to get AdWords Express for ad grants. So they've got the specifics on how to do that. And then you've got troubleshooting and support. So there's a great deal of information here. Plus, many of the marketing firms that help with Google advertising training also have information on ad grants. So if you do change in Google Ad Grant Requirements, the top one here, Search Engine Land, has a good summary of the changes plus very quick tips on how to adjust. But they assume a fairly sophisticated knowledge of AdWords and using AdWords, but they will also have step-by-step information if you want to dig into it at that level. I'm going to be making not only this webinar available, but the links and the slides will be available through 501 Commons. I wish you the best of luck in getting your average click-through rate up to 5% and meeting the new requirements. And if you need to contact me with any specialized questions, you can reach me at Katherine at Cleland Marketing. And you can find that here on the homepage. It's Cleland Marketing. So Katherine, spelled this way, at clelandmarketing.com. You can reach me with specific questions. Thanks very much for your attention, and enjoy your ad grant.